教えてよ教えてよその仕組みを僕の中に誰かいるの
Very few stories were able to grab my attention the way Tokyo Ghoul has. I remember being equally drawn to and delighted by its differences through my exposure to these two different versions of the same first chapter of the Tokyo Ghoul story. And to get the chance to experience it once more in the same fashion as before and still have something to say about it just reaffirms what some might still have doubted: Ishida's brilliance as a mangaka. So, hi everyone, it's Dave, and in this video I'll be analyzing and comparing both versions of the manga of the first chapter of Tokyo Ghoul. September 10th, 2016. In celebration of the 5th anniversary of the series, a brand new, redrawn cover of the first volume following as well the first chapter updated by Ishida was released. It was while reading that redrawn first chapter that I was surprised, considering the author's history with this series, that he was able to reinvent what I, and many of you I believe, considered to be an already very strong and unique first start for the Tokyo Ghoul series, and Kaneki's journey as the main lead of this tragic tale. The differences are transparent, and although I was very much impressed by the redrawn chapter, it has both pros and cons when compared with the original chapter. So let's discuss both side by side and see just what Ishida changed and how he recontextualized the events that unfolded in the chapter, and if he improved overall the chapter itself, bettering the original. So, the original chapter starts by showing us, the reader, a man being attacked by some sort of monster covered in shadow, accompanied by a text that gives us a clue as to what that creature is in the fictional setting where the story takes place in, revealing that in this world humans are the food source of beings like the creature at hand and that they're referred to as ghouls. This first panel layout presents us right away the immediate threat at hand that will linger in the background for most of the entire chapter until it's revealed to us towards the end. The redrawn version of this same panel starts the same way, although instead of showing the scene transpired as if in real time, it's presented in less panels, having a more simple and appealing layout, where the action feels like it takes place in the past due to less panels focusing on the victim and creature, cutting out the struggle and escape and the dread of the victim, as well as the little exchange of words between both, skipping that entirely and focusing instead on the creature already feasting off them, while the text, instead of being scattered throughout the layout, giving room to breathe in certain panels by being non-existent, in this, it occupies all of them completely, highlighting that sense that time had already passed. Also, instead of being entirely covered in darkness, some of the ghoul's facial features are revealed, giving us some hints as to its sex and nature, being portrayed as more human, instead of a complete monster, making it all the more unsettling, and foreshadowing the big reveal later on. As to the following panels and pages, the location and general way the events take place are pretty much the same. Starting out with Ida and Kaneki having a conversation at Anteku, Kaneki meeting Rize, a second conversation with Ide about that meeting with Rize, Kaneki's date with her, him walking her out, and the eventual reveal which leads to Kaneki's surgery, being implanted with Rize's organs and waking up as a ghoul himself in the hospital. Some extra panels and subsequent scenes were cut out, like Kaneki's inner thoughts as he rested in his house before the date with Rize. So as a bit of dialogue in others, and certain locations were changed and scenes shortened. Also adding more character to Rize and Kaneki before her revealing to him being a ghoul. I actually like this particular changes, cutting out dialogue and very short scenes like this one, made for an overall pleasant read, making the pacing much more fluid unlike the one from the original chapter, which tended to drag due to certain scenes being a little longer than they should. Although they serve the purpose, we get to spend a little more time with Kaneki as a character before the incident that changed his life forever, get to know more of his personality, way of thinking just before his mindset changes, and the actual plot gets into motion. But what I found really clever though was Suishida adding in composition for that extra bits of dialogue in the scenes between Rize and Kaneki to humanize these characters, including an important piece of information that was only revealed much later down the road about Kaneki's past. Humanizing more Rize was one of my favorite additions by the author's part. It made the big reveal all the more tragic and shocking, that in the great scheme of things, when you fit it in the overall story, it fixes one of the issues I had regarding Rize as a character, being given little layers and time to make her more than a plot-driven character. The way locations change, like in this panel here, where instead of it being set in the inside of another closed space, the panel layout is filled by its entirety with this beautiful drawing of an outdoor area that diversifies and also highlights the transition between different scenes and makes them less boring to watch, taking place in its entirety in just one page, which again makes the pacing flow much better than the original version's two-page highlight. The conversation was shortened, but its objective was still accomplished. Which leads me to what is probably my greatest compliment to Suishida's rewrite, the paneling layouts. The way that he drew and selected information and lay out the scenes was definitely a big improvement over the original chapter and shows just how much he has evolved as an artist. They are more original, simple and pleasant to read, due to having less panels to follow in just one page. And of course the art was beautiful, also highlighting that evolution in skill in his drawing. But I tended to gravitate more towards the original's art though. There's just something about Suishida's way of drawing in those first chapters in the original series. Although more polished and better organized, that chaos and violent way of drawing, especially the characters' heavy expressions, just made the experience reading those scenes much more intense and unique compared to other mangaka's art styles, due to its raw nature. It also highlights the difference in tone and feel between the original run of Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Reis. Plus, in certain panels, certain expressions of characters such as Kaneki were a little bit weird. I don't know, they felt out of character for me, like Hide's interpretation as a whole in that first conversation with Kaneki. Instead of that playful nature associated with his character, much of the time it felt like instead of him playing around with Kaneki, it came off as him being more rude and bored for being there. But maybe that's just me. Although certain expressions he made during the scene where they talk about the ghouls added a sense of discomfort and mystery that were very much appreciated. Just like Reese's design in general, which the author himself mentioned in his note, was much better handled than the original versions. And despite me still preferring the lack of Kaneki's backstory in the original, being more satisfying not knowing until it plays a big part in Kaneki's change of ideals, at the same time it fits nicely in the story because it adds a deeper meaning as to why Rize's version of Kaneki's mind brings up that specific memory to trigger his beliefs. Overall, the deeper use of foreshadowing in this chapter was incredibly well done, and a great addition by Ishida's part. There were so many things that I really enjoyed about this redrawn first chapter, released by Suishida, but I'll always have a sweet spot for the original chapter. Despite its flaws and things that could be improved, it's still Suishida's original vision, and it will always have that charm to it that can never be replaced. Still, I appreciated the author's need to revisit it and try and better its not-so-strong aspects, with a more expensive set of tools at his disposal as an artist, and that I can respect. Also, I'm never gonna complain for more Tokyo Ghoul, especially when its quality is this good. But what do you think? Which one is the better version? Both are great, but which is the best one though? I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I also hope you have a great rest of the week. Wish you all the best. Until the next one, sayonara.